All right, so today let's dive into celebrity relationships.
Yeah.
Always a juicy topic. Specifically, Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom. We came across this entertainment news piece about how they make it work. And, you'd think with their schedules, things would be pretty chaotic, but their secret weapon is not what you'd expect.
Yeah, it's refreshing, isn't it? They really seem to prioritize a grounded approach, focusing on mutual understanding even with all the craziness of their careers.
Right. The article even talks about how Katie's getting ready for this massive world tour, like her first one in ages.
Oh, wow.
And Orlando totally gets it, all the pressure with that, especially, considering he's got his own pretty intense film projects going on.
Yeah.
But it's more than just like getting it. It's like they actively champion each other's ambitions.
That's a key point, I think. They're both
Yeah.
such high achievers, but they seem to really genuinely celebrate each other's wins. And that's it's something to remember. A truly supportive partner isn't threatened by your success. They're right there in your cheering section.
I love that analogy. And beyond just all the career juggling,
Yeah.
Katie talked about how important just having a family life is. Like, it gives her a sense of normalcy, like an identity outside of being Katy Perry, the pop star.
Right, that's so crucial, I think. Maintaining a strong sense of self outside of work, whatever that looks like for you, it's like an anchor, especially in a world that can easily sweep you away with all its expectations and stuff.
Totally. And speaking of anchors, Katie kind of spilled the tea on one of their biggest relationship secrets: understanding each other's love languages. Have you heard of this concept?
Absolutely. It's crazy how much that idea has just permeated, mainstream culture. I guess, in a nutshell, love languages are basically just the different ways we express and experience love.
So there are the 5 main categories, right? Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. And what's cool is Katie's very upfront about hers being acts of service, which makes total sense.
Yeah. It does. You can just see it in how she interacts with people, like her natural generosity and her desire to make sure everyone around her is taken care of.
Right. Always the life of the party, making sure everyone's happy. But I was thinking, how does this actually play out in their relationship? Like, how does Orlando, whose love language we don't know for sure, navigate this?
Right. Well, that's where it gets interesting. It's less about perfectly matching love languages, and more about understanding and adapting to your partners. So maybe for Orlando, it's about recognizing those little acts of service that Katie does and appreciating them in his own way.
That's a great point. It's not about speaking the exact same language,
Right.
but rather learning each other's dialects, so to speak.
Exactly. And that's where I think a lot of couples trip up. They show love in the way they want to receive it, not necessarily in the way their partner needs it. It's like speaking French to someone who only understands Spanish. The message gets lost in translation.
So true. And when that happens, frustration builds on both sides. You feel unappreciated, and your partner feels like their efforts are going unnoticed.
Exactly. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't work. But when you understand each other's love languages, it unlocks like a whole new level of connection and intimacy.
So how do you even figure out your own love language, let alone your partner's? Any tips for our listener out there who's probably thinking, wait, what's my love language?
That's a great question. There are a bunch of resources out there, quizzes, books, articles. But honestly, sometimes the simplest way is just to reflect on what makes you feel most loved and appreciated. Like what gestures or actions really resonate with you.
That's such a good point. I bet once you start thinking about it, it'll become pretty clear.
Right. And then once you understand your own onsen, you can start to observe your partner, pay attention to how they express affection, and what seems to make them feel most lived.
It's like becoming a love language detective.
Exactly. And the more you understand these nuances, the better equipped you are to build a strong and fulfilling relationship.
Now, getting back to Katie and Orlando, there's another fascinating little tidbit in this article.
Ooh, I'm all ears.
What caught your attention? Well, remember how we talked about Katie craving that sense of normalcy amidst her rock star life? It turns out Orlando and their daughter Daisy are actually joining her for part of the tour.
That's incredible. That speaks volumes about their commitment to family, even with a crazy schedule like a world tour.
Right. Most people would assume a tour is this massive separation, but they're turning it into a family adventure.
Which honestly makes me wonder, could this actually be a secret weapon for their relationship?
It could be. It's like they're proactively combating that potential for distance, by weaving their family life into the tour experience. And what's really interesting? This ties in perfectly with Katie's love language.
Oh, tell me more. How so?
Well, think about it. For someone whose love language is acts of service, What better way to express that than by creating a loving and supportive environment for her family on the road?
Wow, that's a brilliant insight. It's like she's extending that act of service to encompass her whole family, creating a little haven of normalcy amidst the tour chaos. Exactly, and it's a testament to how understanding your partner's love language can lead to creative solutions that benefit the entire family. It's not just about romantic gestures, it's about creating a shared language of love that strengthens all the bonds within the family unit.
I love that. So we've got mutual understanding, a grounded home life, and this fascinating dive into love languages. But there's one more thing I found super intriguing in the article.
Ooh, I'm on the edge of my seat.
What else did you uncover?
Ah,
Well, it has to do with how they choose to spend their downtime together. Katie mentioned something that really struck me. She talked about how much they both just value, those quiet everyday moments at home. She even mentioned like how grateful she is for having that whole identity outside of being Katy Perry. And I think that speaks volumes about their shared values.
it does, doesn't it? It suggests that despite, the glitz and glam of their careers, they find like true joy in those simple grounding experiences. It's a refreshing reminder that happiness isn't always about the grand gestures, it's often about those quiet moments of connection.
Absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, always striving for the next big thing. But Katie and Orlando seem to have mastered the art of appreciating the present moment.
I think that's a crucial ingredient in any lasting relationship. It's about making that conscious effort to savor those everyday moments, whether it's cooking dinner together or taking a walk in nature, or simply cuddling up on the couch with a good book.
It's like they're intentionally creating a space for peace and normalcy amidst like the whirlwind of their celebrity lives.
And that's no small feat. It suggests a deliberate choice to prioritize their relationship and well-being. Over the constant demands of their careers, they're setting boundaries and making time for what truly matters.
Which, let's be honest, is something we could all learn from. It's so easy to get caught up in that go, go, go mentality that we forget to slow down and appreciate the simple things.
It's true. We live in a culture that often glorifies busyness and overachievement. But Katie and Orlando's story is a powerful reminder that it's okay to prioritize rest, connection, and personal happiness.
And you know what? I think their ability to find joy in the ordinary actually fuels their extraordinary careers. It's like that sense of peace and grounding gives them the energy and inspiration to tackle those demanding projects.
That's a fascinating perspective. It challenges the notion that we have to choose between a successful career and a fulfilling personal life. Maybe, just maybe, those two things can actually complement and enhance each other.
I think you're onto something. It's like that old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. When you prioritize your own well-being and nurture your relationships, you create a wellspring of energy and creativity that overflows into all areas of your life.
And speaking of challenges, it's important to remember that Katie and Orlando haven't had it easy. They've both navigated their fair share of heartbreak, public scrutiny, and career setbacks, yet they seem to have emerged from those experiences stronger than ever.
That's so true. They've both had those high-profile relationships that ended, and they've definitely faced their share of criticism in the media, but they seem to have this incredible resilience, this ability to just bounce back from adversity.
Resilience is key. And I think it stems from their solid foundation as individuals and as a couple. They have a strong sense of self-rebirth, a supportive network, and a shared commitment to growth and evolution.
And that's a powerful combination. It allows them to weather those storms and come out on the other side even more connected and grounded.
Exactly. It's not about avoiding challenges altogether. It's about having the tools and support systems in place to navigate those inevitable ups and downs.
And their upcoming tour might actually be a testament to that resilience. Think about it. Taking your family on the road for months on end could be incredibly challenging. But they seem to be approaching it with a sense of adventure and a deep trust in their bond.
I admire their courage to embrace that unconventional approach to family life. It challenges traditional notions of what it means to be a successful working parent. They're not letting their careers dictate their family life. They're finding creative ways to integrate the two.
It's like they're rewriting the rules and creating a new definition of family time. And that brings us back to the whole idea of shared experiences.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about being physically present. It's about actively creating memories and strengthening those bonds through shared adventures.
And I bet those shared experiences, those moments of laughter and connection on the road, will be far more valuable than any material possessions or accolades. It's like they're investing in a wealth of memories that will last a lifetime.
And let's not forget the incredible life lessons Daisy will be learning along the way. She'll be exposed to different cultures, perspectives, and ways of life. Talk about an enriching childhood experience.
It's like they're creating a global classroom for their daughter. And, you know, this whole conversation has really got me thinking with a bigger picture. What can we as listeners take away from Katy and Orlando's story? What are the key insights that we can apply to our own lives?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Well, I think their story offers a powerful blueprint for navigating the complexities of love, work, and family in a way that feels both authentic and fulfilling. It reminds us that strong, lasting relationships are built on, mutual respect, open communication, and a willingness to prioritize each other's needs. It's not about sacrificing your own dreams, it's about finding that sweet spot where personal growth and shared experiences can coexist beautifully.
That's a great point. It's not about becoming like one homogeneous blob. It's about two individuals choosing to walk alongside each other, supporting each other's evolution.
Precisely, and that means being present for each other through thick and thin, celebrating the wins, offering a shoulder to lean on during tough times, and sometimes even taking a leap of faith and joining your partner on a world tour.
Because why not? It's about embracing the adventure of life together.
And one thing that's really striking about Katy and Orlando is their commitment to partnership. They're not just two stars orbiting each other, they're actively co-creating a life they both love. That's the heart of it. Viewing your partner as your teammate, your co-pilot in this wild ride we call life. It's about making conscious choices that nourish the relationship, even when life throws curveballs.
And those choices don't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes it's about those small, everyday acts of love, like learning your partner's love language, carving out time for connection amidst busy schedules, or simply expressing appreciation for the little things they do.
Exactly. Relationships thrive on attention and intention. And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for Katy and Orlando might not work for everyone. The key is to find what works for you and your partner.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Katy and Orlando's world, I'd love to leave our listener with a little food for thought. What small but meaningful action can you take today to strengthen your own relationships? Maybe it's sending a thoughtful text, cooking a meal together, or simply putting down your phone and truly listening to your partner.
Remember, nurturing your relationships is an investment in your overall happiness and well-being. And who knows, maybe you'll even inspire a few world tours of your own along the way.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, on that note, we'll sign off, leaving you to ponder those questions and apply these insights to your own life. And if you're feeling extra curious about love languages, we've got some awesome resources linked in the show notes. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep those relationships strong.